Hi friends, it's Sarah from Ruffles and Rainboots.com, and today I am sharing a sewn version of my brand new pattern, the Treasure Gnome. If you'd like to make it, boop, stick around. As always, please give this video a like so I know you're here. I will put a link to this pattern. I'm so glad you all loved it last week. So this is a fun little guide to put together, and I've shared how to do a no-sew version, but I'm going to be sharing how to sew this one today. For this project, you do need the pattern pieces. So again, the pattern's below. There's 2 pieces for the hat and 2 pieces for the body. I had a question, can I add arms? Of course you can, just add them in either color. I took a 3-inch or so piece of faux fur that I'd already cut for a different project. I have these summer like little sunglasses I got from the doll section at the craft store, but I totally forgot to use them. We're using a 1/2 to a 1-inch wood round for the nose, some daisies for the accent, and then um, some stuffing and some fill, whatever you would like to use. I'm not your mom. If you want to use rice, use rice. Just put it in a bag. So as you can see, I also am going to be using a glue gun and some scissors. For this pattern, I'm going to show you a couple of things. It's super easy to sew up. For my newbies, do not worry. You're going to use a straight stitch. A 3 will work, 2.5 to 3, any of that will work. I am using fleece, so it's very forgiving. So as you can see, I just dropped my needle. We're going to be working with 1/8 to 1/4 inch. The only time this matters, no kidding, is on the curve. So when you start, you're going to start forward and reverse your stitches to lock them in, and then you're just going to go all the way around. You can see as I go around this curve, I am moving and picking up my footer, like the little bottom footer, the press. I'm picking that up and moving my material around so that I can make sure each stitch is a nice single stitch or 2 stitches to go around that curve. Then I'm just going to pick up the presser foot again, go around and come down straight after that curve. Be sure to start and or reverse your stitches at the end to lock those in. Now for the brim of the hat, again, right sides are together. And I had a question, do you have to line up the little triangles on the hat? No, they're independent of each other. All you have to do is either sew or glue around this outside edge. Now, as you can see, after you glue around it, you can just turn it right sides out. Yeah, turn it right side out. I use my finger just to go along that seam. And then you can have 2 options. You can leave it alone, which I will be sharing some of the ones I've already created left alone, or you can add a top stitch. Again, you are going to be using a similar color of thread. I'm using white in all of this so you can see it, but you're just going to put the body on the same way we put the body on before, making sure it's nice and flat on that base piece, pinning or, clipping it in place, and then we're going to sew along that edge as well. Here's a pro tip. It's kind of hard to show you the way that this is angled, but I will go start and reverse my stitches, and I will do that. I will move my entire piece around out of the way so that nothing gets bunched up. And you can see I go a lot slower on the base than I do anything else just because, there you go. It kind of can get bunched up pretty quickly. So we're going to make sure all of our seams are intact. Oops, now we're going to flip everything out. So I've already done the hat. This is the body. Just make sure you run those seams between your fingers and it will all sit flat. All right, so this is the hat brim. It's already right side out because we top stitched it. And now for the body, we're just going to add about 1/4 of the way up with weight. Now, just FYI, this depends on your seam allowance, but just if it does that and it stays in place and you're not putting 4 pounds of decorations on the hat, you're good with that amount of weight. You can always add more if you're making a really heavy gnome, but you wouldn't even need 1/3 of the weight of the 1/3 of the body. Once that weight is in, I'm just going to start stuffing it with small tufts of polyfill. If you're using a really thin fleece, you may want to wrap that polyfill around the beads. I rub the whole thing between my hands just to make sure it all sits flat, and then I'm just going to stop exactly where we stopped on the pattern. Make sure when you squeeze the body, it bounces back to its original size and you're good. I'm going to close this edge up here. If you still have your sewing machine, you can actually just fold that down and sew right across the top. I don't, so I'm just going to glue it. Ooh, I thought I was going to burn myself right there. Look at that. So I made these a while ago. As you all know, I have to go through a couple of hoops so that all my patterns are now protected from people who like to use them as inspiration. So I had to create these and then not share them for a while. By the way, the glue stick does not work to press fuzz up into the cone tip of the hat. Scissors do though. Just go slow. Make sure you get that pretty solid so that it maintains its shape because, people want to squeeze it. So you can always hang something from the hook of the hat as well. I just didn't for this one. I will be sharing that in the future. All right, so I put a lot of stuffing in, maybe more than is needed, but you can see like when I squeeze this, it goes back, right? It doesn't matter what area you're squeezing, it's done. So all you're going to do is put the hook right through the center of the brim. Now, remember we had those triangles, right? You're just going to split those triangles. Do you have to do this? No. Will it add a little bit more structure and stability? Yes. And for this one, I'm going to be putting a ton of flowers and leaves on it. So I kind of do want extra stability without any cardboard, right? You can put cardboard in there too if you want. I'm just way too lazy for all that. All right, so you can position it, and this is not its final position because you still have to put it on the hat. Obviously, I put too much fuzz in it if it's popping out the bottom there. Once you are ready, yeah, see, we just pull a little extra out. The structure of the body is also going to fill the hat, so save on that polyfill. So all we're doing is pulling down the conical portion of the hat, not the brim. And once we get the conical portion correct, you make sure that your hook is perpendicular to your seam or however you want it. And you just glue down the front and the back. Leave the sides open in case you do want to add any additional polyfill. But I didn't because I kind of overstuffed, which is my MO. So then I'm just going to glue them shut. And now we can pull the brim down into place. So you can see I'm pulling those triangles on the bottom because that's really all that matters. We're pulling it down. And I prefer, this is your choice, I'm going to sort of tip the front of the hat up so I can have this longer beard. And then I have to clip this off because you can see it because my beard doesn't go all the way around. So now I'm going to just glue down the top of this beard to fold over the edge. Do be careful if you like your fingers with fingerprints or use, something else other than your fingers to tap that down. Add an obscene amount of hot glue because one can, and give it a squish. Give it a squish. Give it a really good squish. Love that part. All right, so just make sure it's down and then split the fur with your fingers right to that fabric backing. Add what is arguably too much glue, and then give this a squish too. Squish! Release all that anxiety. Okay, so once that is on, okay, that's enough. Sarah. Sarah. Wow. Had a little something to get out there. All right, so now that we have that, we can actually start positioning the brim. So as I mentioned, I want to have like a wavy brim, but I don't want to have to put wire in it. So what I'm going to do, like normal, is I'm going to glue down these triangles at the very base, and that'll keep that top section in place without moving. I'm also going to glue down these bottom triangles in place in the back. So the front ones are already under the glue, so you don't have to worry about. But again, I'm going to make sure all these on the top are glued down. And be sure to stay at the bottom because we're going to nip off the little triangles after the glue is dry, just so that we, have less of an obtrusion there. No, protrusion. Oh, wow. This is like that time I forgot what a tape measure was called. Love that for us. Anyway, we're cutting these off so that they don't stick out. How's that? Say it another way. All right, so now I always do my drop test. I'm gonna brush out and now we get to decorate. So as you can see, that front part is not down yet. So I am actually behind the nose, okay? So far I haven't glued anything to the top of the nose because I kind of want to position the rest of the hat first. First and foremost is this back piece down here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and glue that down. Do wait until that is solid before you do the rest of it. So as I mentioned, I want to make little waves without wires. So I'm going to just glue down this little like area right here, leaving the other ones open. So I'm going to do that exactly the same on the other side. And now just tiny little, ooh, that's a lot of glue. Tiny little pieces of the hat are glued down. You see, so you get a little wave. And make sure that's all glued before you move on, or solid, I should say. But look, we already have a little wave forming. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Look how cute that is. Sarah, stop playing. Okay, so now is the part where we decapitate some daisies. I got these at the lobby of the hobbies, and they were too cute to pass up. So now I have something to do with them. I'm going to cut these leaves off because that's a lot of leaves for a little guy, and I need more leaves to cover that brim. So as you can see, I'm just going to split and use these all over, which I'm not going to make you walk through or, watch. But I do want to say I nipped off the bottom of the flowers. Don't go too far because that little yellow thing can come out, which makes it look not so much like a daisy, and you'll have to reconstruct them. But I just did this all the way around, making sure I had enough, design to go all the way around, and then just used an obscene amount of hot glue to hold it all together, which I'm going to speed up because you don't have time for that. All right, so as you can see, more and more daisies. I don't think there's a limit really on the amount of decoration you need to do. By the way, if you want to make your own flowers, go ahead. It's time to clean up and show you that this little guy is done. Give him a little brushing if you would like, but here he is. I love him. These are about 7 inches tall, as this one is. You can vary it from 6 to 8 inches. I love this little guy, but I want to hear what you think. Please let me know down below. I'll put the link to the pattern down below, and as always, please like, share, and subscribe for more crafty fun.